If anyone ever doubted what Jimmy Butler is capable of doing for an NBA team, what he's doing in Golden State should serve as a prime example. Most recently, with Steph Curry being rested due to fatigue, Butler stepped up in crunch time and with the help of a sidekick in Podziemski, put Giannis and the Bucks to bed at Chase Center. Hey, what's happening, everyone? This is Swish Culture. Since acquiring Jimmy Buckets, the Warriors have gone 15-3 with a 15-2 record when Jimmy Butler plays. This is far and above what they did at the beginning of the season when they went 12-3. A 12-3 start in the prior years had always landed the Warriors in the finals, and this year is shaping up to be no different. Despite losing a couple of odd games such as Dallas without Anthony Davis and most recently the Denver Nuggets without Jokic or Murray, their trajectory remains the same. That is, to win Steph Curry his 5th championship. Now, one of the things a lot of us tend to do is we hyper-focus on some of the latest games without taking the rest of the performances into context. When the Warriors lost against Denver, it raised a lot of questions about their championship aspirations. How could they lose against a team without its 2 key players? Considering it's one game of a much larger sample size, I wouldn't put too much weight on it. The Warriors had an historically low performance that game, shooting 24% from 3, 55% from the free throw line, while having 20 turnovers. No team in the history of the game has ever had such poor shooting numbers across all 3 metrics. But this does not take away the fact that the Warriors are contenders. The fact that the Denver Nuggets were actually swept in the season series versus the 15-win Washington Wizards is more of a statement than their win over the Warriors. While the Warriors are yet to be fully healthy, there are some major developments that led to their win over the Bucks. So let's unpack. Before that, however, be sure to like the video and subscribe to Swish Culture for the most analytical and entertaining NBA content on the planet. Now get ready. You're about to get With the Warriors down by 1 point and less than a minute to go in the third quarter, things were looking dire. They'd started the quarter with a double-digit lead, but after the Bucks made their halftime adjustment, they attacked relentlessly, not only erasing the Warriors' lead, but building up a 6-point buffer. The Warriors managed to get a couple of back-to-back buckets to close the gap, but the Bucks were hungry and Giannis was ready to smash everything in his path. This was the first time the Warriors were able to truly see what might happen when they get to the playoffs. Jimmy Butler alongside Draymond Green and Podziemski shut off the faucet on the Bucks, and the trio stood head and shoulders above Giannis, Lillard, and a red-hot shooting Kyle Kuzma. They managed to sweep the season series and get a convincing win over a really good and fully healthy Eastern Conference team that has championship aspirations while being shorthanded. So how'd they do it? First, the return of Pods after being out for 4 games was so seamless you'd think he was the Warriors' starting point guard. Maybe not, but the timing couldn't have been better as it allowed for Steve Kerr to rest Curry while running a competent offense. So here's why Pods was so effective. In Steve Kerr's offense, if you move and make cuts, the ball will find you. On this possession, Pods screens Giannis and immediately dives down the open lane to the basket. At the same time, Post dumps off the possession to Butler and then makes the roll. While Taurean Prince is a good defender, he allows Pods to roll. The trio of Giannis, and Lopez stay with the ball. Then they allow Post to roll. It wasn't until much later after Brook Lopez lost his man that Prince realized he lost his man long before that happened. Still, Jimmy finds Post for the easy deuce. Insane read by Pods, however, who was well ahead of the play. Defensively, when he was placed on Lillard, he did a great job of forcing him to go left, which is his weak side. That's one benefit of being a lefty on a basketball court, is most players are right-handed, so that's the defender's strong side, which forces the offensive player to use his weak hand. It's one thing to dribble down an open lane, but with the presence in the paint, Pods denies Lillard the 3-ball, makes him drive with his weak hand and give the ball up as there's no way he can handle drop coverage in that scenario. While Lopez makes the jump hook, Pods did his job. It also helped that he was hitting his shots. Earlier in the season, Brandon's shooting was one of the biggest disappointments for the sophomore player. However, he just put up 4 of 7 from distance to go along with 17 points and 7 rebounds in 29 minutes. His all-round play makes him a really valuable asset. Back at Santa Clara, he was a nightly triple-double threat, so this is no surprise. The next thing the Warriors needed to win was a defensive masterclass. Your hope is to make things as difficult as possible, knowing they will still find their way to the basket. Giannis started off a bit slow, but came out like a freight train in the third quarter. Despite this burst of energy, he still struggled against Draymond. On possessions where he was guarded by Green, Giannis shot 0 for 6 from the field. This led to him shooting the lowest field goal percentage he's shot in the last 2 years at 31%. So how is Draymond doing this? We see even with Post on the floor, Draymond still remains as the defensive anchor. He's still the last line of defense. Taurean Prince, who seemingly gets Quentin Post on a switch, got by Post, and while Post might have recovered, Draymond is right there to swat Prince's weak floater into Jimmy's palms. On this next play, this is actually insane. Moody's guarding Lillard and had been putting the clamps on one of the league's best shooters. Taurean Prince vacates the strong side to give Lillard some room to get by Moody. Draymond, without even redirecting his gaze, immediately sees this and moves to cut off what easily could have been a drive and finish by Dame. Dame, however, doesn't even see this opportunity and turns to get a screen from Giannis. As the one-man army rolls to the basket, Draymond climbs the elevator and stuffs the Greek freak. Giannis clearly had had enough. And finally, KPJ, looking to make a play from up top, gets the Giannis screen. Trey stayed too far behind the play, allowing his man Giannis to get ahead of him, at which point Kevin Porter Jr., who somehow found his way to the court after narrowly escaping multiple charges, decides to throw up the lob. Draymond, however, noticed the freak making a move before Trace and came to help, knocking the ball away before Giannis could do any damage. This type of defensive work is what kept the Bucks under 100 points on the night. Despite only scoring 3 points, his 10 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals, and 4 massive blocks in 36 minutes shows why Green is indispensable if this team is trying to win a championship. And lastly, the Jimmy Butler takeover. Before going into the game, Butler knew that without Curry, he would have to carry quite a bit more of the offensive load. That led to glimpses of Miami Heat Jimmy, who completely dominated going into the fourth quarter. When the chips are down, Jimmy will always find a way to score. So we get to the fourth quarter and Jimmy's locked in. An ISO with Porter Jr. up top, and Jimmy hits the long two and converts on the three-point play. These are tough shots that he doesn't normally take, so that's a big indicator of where his mindset is as a scorer. The next clip, Jimmy takes Gary Trent off the dribble. Guys clog the paint and there's zero spacing. 4 guys in the paint, doesn't matter. Jimmy gets to a spot, rises up, and hits a tough shot while turning midair. Slick move by Jimmy to create space from his defender. This is something he's mastered and why he gets the calls. He knows how to fill up his space and draw the contact, so he either gets space or he gets fouled. Now this next sequence involves all 3 players. Now obviously KPJ's too used to getting locked up because ain't no way you think you're just gonna pull up for a 3 with Draymond Green standing right in front of you. Like, how desperate do you have to be to shoot your shot under these circumstances? No open look, no screen, no protection, just going in raw, and I don't even think Steph Curry would attempt this shot. Get that weak shot out of here. 2 smart defenders in Butler and Pods immediately swarm Lillard before Lopez even lets the ball out of his hands. These guys knew what was coming. The double team was so swift he couldn't even see Dame light. He coughs it up and Post sends it to Hield for a transition 3. Again, very good awareness of his opponent. Jimmy attacks Giannis and floats it up over him before the former Defensive Player of the Year was able to establish himself. While Jimmy was aggressive, he was still unselfish, able to make a play on the ball and find his teammates open whenever he collapsed the defense. When the Bucks overcommitted, something they needed to do to stop him, he found guys open for easy looks all night. Imagine Pods having one of his better shooting games and still left wide open at the top of the key. That's the type of pressure Jimmy brings to the floor, and why when the Warriors get to the playoffs, an aggressive Jimmy playing next to Curry will be a problem for teams to defend. Now, while he had a fair number of turnovers, Butler still maintained a 2-to-1 ratio, finishing the night with a double-double, 24 points, 10 assists, 8 rebounds, and 11 of 11 from the free throw line. Both he and Jonathan Kuminga, who went 6 of 6, were perfect from the line. Steph Curry should be back soon, and hopefully JK will be fully integrated into the team not long after. Once everyone starts to click, the true ceiling of the team will start to show. With 13 games remaining, let me know what you think their record will be at the end of the season. Over 50 games or less? Should the Warriors get more of takeover Jimmy, or should they let the chef continue to cook? Post your thoughts in the comments below. Just be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on all your notifications so you don't miss any of my latest uploads. Thanks for watching. Till next time, swish!